interview questions that I found difficult to answer. So number one was that I have a trigger that when contact is created, create the user record, and the user is created inside the future method. So basically, if I write it down in normal words, okay, so basically what's going to happen is I have a trigger that when a contact is created, okay, go ahead and create a user. Okay, we are going to go and create a user as well. Okay, let's name it as contact C. Okay, and I'm going to name it as U. Okay, now this U is created. So if you read it out, that user is created inside the future method. Okay, so when contact is created, user is created, but it's created inside the future method. So you're not going to get any kind of mixed DML error at all. Okay, now let's move to the next part. That is that now we have a batch class which is specifically used to create a contact. Will we have any issues if we run this batch class? If yes, how do we fix it? And if no, why not? So if you think about it, I have already written a trigger that whenever a contact is created, create a user of that contact, right? And it's inside the future. So I'm not going to get any kind of mixed TML error. Now, what I've done is I've created a batch class, separate batch class, okay, which is specifically designed to create contacts. Now, as soon as I'm going to create a contact, it's going to fire the trigger of contact, right? And as soon as the contact trigger is fired, user will also get created. So the question is, will I face any kind of issue in such a scenario? Okay, again I'll repeat it, that whenever a contact using batch class, okay, I'm creating using a batch class. So using batch class, whenever I'm going to create a contact, so automatically as soon as I insert or update a contact, a trigger will execute of the contact. And as soon as the trigger of contact will be executed, the user will be created inside the future method, right? So if you look into it, there is one problem. You are calling future from future, not directly but indirectly. So you're calling a batch class or you're calling a future method from the batch class, right? But you're calling it indirectly in a single transaction. As soon as the contact is created from the batch class, you're executing a trigger which is calling the future method. So basically you're calling a future method from the batch class indirectly. Okay, via you are going to create it. So you are going to have certain kind of issue, and the issue is that, of course, you cannot call a future method from the batch class. You're calling it indirectly, but still you will face an issue that you cannot call a batch class or you cannot call a future method from the batch class. This issue you are going to face if you are going to solve this kind of problem. Now, if you want to solve this issue, one of the most easiest way to do is that you have to make sure that this future method is only executed if system.isBatch. Okay, if system.isBatch is false. What do I mean by that is, let's say I have a trigger. Okay, let's say when contact is created, then I'm going to create user, right? And I'm going to create it inside the future method, right? Now, what I'll do is I'll include this creation of the future method if the system dot is batch, right? So in simple words, whenever batch class will execute, okay, this future method will not run at all. Okay, when the batch class will execute, this future method won't run at all, and that's the reason why. So even if you're executing a asynchronous apex, you're not calling asynchronous to asynchronous apex, but instead you're stopping it by using system.isBatch. Okay, so this is the answer for this question. Let's move on to the next question. Now this question, even I honestly was not able to answer this, as I have actually never faced it, but recently I had to use it. That's the reason why I am able to answer right now. But the question was that write a query to get all the files related to the case object. Okay, now keep this thing in mind. They're not asking about a particular record, but they are trying to asking me to write a query for case object. Okay, like I should get all the files related to that of the case object. Now the answer is, or how will we do it? Okay, so to do that, what you need to do is, first of all, everything is stored inside the content document link, right? So we have to query based on the content document link. So select id comma content document id from content document link. Okay, this is just going to give you all the files that are available within the org. Now if you want to get it for a particular case, you can use linked entity id. Okay, there is a linked entity id field within the content document link which helps you to find for which object it is. Okay, so where, or it helps you to find the id of the object. Okay, so where link entity id in select id from case and link entity dot type equals to case. So now over here you are trying to query, okay, you are trying to query from the content document link from you are trying to query all the documents which are related to case, okay, and also you are passing the id of all the cases over here, okay. So this is the way you can get all the files related to other case. So this was the answer of this question, and honestly I was not able to answer. So now, before moving to the last question, if you're not feeling confident enough before going to any of the interview, you can have one-to-one mock interview with me by clicking the top mate link below, which will be very much useful to you for your next interview. Let's move on to the last question, that what is the biggest disadvantages of using a record edit form? Now this is the answer. I was able to answer this question. The reason is because I faced it recently, because I had to create some kind of table which I had to submit the data for, but I was not able to, and that was a limitation of the record edit form. Now what do I mean by that is, let's say if you are creating a table, okay, using a record edit form, you can do it, okay, by providing the record edit form in the like in the table format, okay. You can create a record table using record edit form as well, but that needs a little bit of html and js as along with it. Now if you have multiple record edits form, and if you click on submit, and if you want to submit all this record edit form together, you cannot do it, okay. Usually if you want to submit it, this is how we do it. This dot template dot query selector lightning record edit form dot submit, okay. Now inside this submit, okay, inside this submit, let's say you have 5 record edit forms at the top, okay. I am going to write it something like this, okay. 1 2 3 4, let's say I have 4 lightning record edit form. Consider this as a lightning record edit form, and if I want to submit all of this record edit form together using the submit method, I won't be able to do it. So for that purpose I have to use this within the for loop. So to get first record edit form, then I should submit the first form, and then similarly I should get the second record edit form, then I should submit the second one, and vice versa. In simple terms, using this submit this dot template dot query selector dot submit, you can only submit one form at a time. You cannot submit all the forms together. If you want to do it, make an apex call, but here you won't be able to submit all the forms together. Only inside the submit method you can only submit one form at a time, or one lightning record edit form at a time. So this was all about the interview questions that I've recently found fascinating. If you found this video helpful, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel.